why am I applying for this
Just tell us about it.
and what I want to do with it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the reason I'm applying is because last year when I got my taxes, I go, golly, if my renters move out, I'm going to be in trouble. So I decided, well, I want to apply for a short-term rental, and I have another rent house that and I don't want to do it there because it interfere with my neighbors, I think, and I think it'd be too much trouble. But I'd like to get one, but I don't intend on doing it until my renter moves out. So my question is, am I going to lose? Am I going to lose my permit if he stays there for 5 years, or do I reapply? Do I just reapply every year? Is what it is.
Shelby, would you like to answer that question? Are these?
Is this for? There we go. So, in answer to your question, you could renew your permit every year.
Okay. And do I go through the same process?
You wouldn't need to go through a conditional use permit process necessarily, but you would just renew your STR permit, your STR unoccupied permit, if issued.
Okay. Because that very possibly could happen. And anyway, that's it. That's my only question. And I apply, and I want a short-term rental if possible.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Is there anyone else who wants to make any comments on this? All right. Have a motion by Darrell, second by Jim. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Let's go to action item number 6A, discussion, consideration, and recommendation regarding Z 2230.
Thank
Shelby?
you. Yes, ma'am. So the applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to obtain an STR unoccupied permit for property located at 111 East Schubert. Because the property is zoned R2 and it's located in the historic district, this is the proper process for them to make that request. So staff's reviewed their application, and given that the subject tract and found that the subject tract resides at the intersection of East Schubert and North Llano. I'm going to pull up some images here so we can look at the surrounding conditions in the neighborhood. There we go. As part of our review, staff found that this particular property is located in a neighborhood with a wide variety of uses. You can see across the street is Buck's Bar and Grill, as well as another STR unoccupied property located at 112 East Schubert. There's a mix of vacant properties as well as short-term rentals and residential properties, and it abuts the creek, but on the opposite side of the creek is Hill Country Titles and Fred Spa, so also commercial uses. So given that information, and the varied uses in the neighborhood, staff sees that it conforms with that particular section for the conditional use permit. And in addition, they're providing 3 parking spaces on site. They have to provide 2 as it's a 2-bedroom unit. So they're parking in abundance of the requirement. I did want to draw your attention that there is a guest house shown on the site plan. And the applicant has indicated that they have no intention to use that property as a short-term rental. It'll remain for their private use. So with the knowledge that the property is located in a neighborhood with a variety of uses, they're providing ample parking requirements, and they meet the additional requirements per section 5.460, which are the conditional use permit evaluation criteria. Staff recommends approval conditioned upon review and inspection of an approved STR unoccupied permit application and payment of applicable fees of $250 for a 2-bedroom unit. Staff would like to note that we received 2 responses to our notice of the public hearing, 1 in support and 1 in protest, and those have been provided to you.
I didn't see that.
It's on the back.
Oh, sorry.
So I have a procedural question on this one, based on what Jimmy said. We're going to approve the CUP. If we approve the CUP today, then he has the option but not the requirement to apply for an STR permit. how long? So, and the CUP would be indefinite, isn't it? Once it's in, it's in. And then his timing on applying for the STR permit just varies, because I don't recall when we redid the ordinance that we had considered this type of a timing situation.
So in answer to your question, a conditional use permit, unless approved with conditions separately, is valid for 2 years.
Okay.
And as part of your approval process, you're able to approve a conditional use permit with conditions for a longer time frame.
We could have making a difference, because otherwise he's got to come back. He still has his home from normally in the house. He's still got to come, then he'd have to come back after 2 years for a new CUP, correct?
Correct, if he didn't already obtain the STR permit, that is correct.
Yeah.
So his options would be to obtain the STR permit, renew it, keep it for 5 years.
Right.
At such time that he actually uses it, or obtain a conditional use permit with a time frame that goes beyond the 2-year limitation.
But if he gets an STR permit, but he doesn't use it, it's not active as an STR. So he's not remitting hot tax every quarter to maintain the permit. What happens?
He still has the permit. So under the 2022 ordinance, says it's not a non-conforming property.
Okay.
So as long as he obtains the permit and he keeps it valid and he renews it,
Okay.
and files hot, even if he's not collecting hot, he would still have to file a zero remittance to remain compliant. He could continue to renew that permit.
Okay, so the non-conforming
90 days.
Okay, that's the,
To that clarification, because I didn't understand that either.
okay, so he's, so I have one other question here. How big is the lot?
Huge. It's big.
Okay, so 26,000. So Jimmy could decide to add another structure
Up to 4.
up to 4
as an R2.
as an R2.
There's probably some flood. There's probably some floodplain issues.
Right. We're looking at all the possibilities, ex-school teacher. Remember, the legislature hasn't met yet.
That isn't necessary.
Right.
The next.
So, my question had to do with the permit. I don't think it's a good idea that we should set precedent to do a 5-year. I think it's a question, but I think if so, he could decide to keep it as long-term, but have the option at any time. He would, the Ragnows would still have to file hot, so that if he has it as a long-term and the renter decides to go to Europe for a month, he could rent it as a short-term and then remit hot. He's going to have to remit hotel tax monthly anyway, even if it's a zero report.
Quarterly, yes. Even if it's a zero filing, if he has an STR permit, he would need to remit.
Okay.
Jimmy, do you understand?
I think so.
The implication of that?
Yes.
So once you have an STR permit, you'll have to file.
Even if I don't do.
Right.
You still have to quarterly
Right.
do the filing.
And if you don't, you could lose your permit.
Right. Right. Okay.
I'll give my secretary.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Right. I just want to make sure he understood the procedure.
All right, any other questions or comments?
I have a question on the guest house. It says it's not being used as a short-term rental. What is it being used for currently?
Nothing. The guy that, excuse me. When my mother found that in about 92, because she didn't want me staying in the house in the summers when I came home. But anyway, I'm the only person that ever stayed there. And Coach Dern, the guy that rents from me, he's got clothes and stuff in there, but, and if his relatives or somebody comes down, they might have stayed in there twice, you know, in the last year. It's never been used other than when I spent.
It's about the only thing a teacher can afford in this town.
All right, Madam, you ready for a motion?
Certainly.
I'm making a motion we approve with staff recommendations, and this is in spite of the fact that Kusenberg wrote a letter
Right. Don't hold that against him.
that we approve Z230.
Second.
I have a motion by Jim, a second by Tom. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that motion carries. Now you go to city council on what day? The 17th. Got that? All right, put that on, get your secretary to put that on your calendar, Jimmy.
I just got a cell phone not too long ago, so we're all right.
All right. Let's go to action item number. This is
And you're gonna have to turn it off.
Hello. Okay. Action item number 6B. Request EC 2022-06 by William Majors to consider entry corridor design standards for property located at 1455 East Main Street. There you are. I didn't even have to wait.
Yeah, well, after following that, I was happy to be here for that. So it was fun. Madam Chair, I'm Jim Gallegos, and Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Same
Uh,
to you.
Thank you, and the rest of you members and Vice Chair as well. So we were here about a few weeks back, maybe even 2 months ago, with a preliminary site plan, and so we followed up now with this entry corridor plan, and have had our architect respond to the comments that y'all had. And we're very excited about the project. We have 2 tenants already with some other very interested parties as well. So we're ready to get going as soon as we can. So, but we know we have these steps to take care of. So appreciate your all's consideration and appreciate staff's help as well. So I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This thing isn't cooperating. All right, Anna, you have any comments on this? These things are just not wanting to.
Finicky. Staff did the review, section by section, and the only section that it wasn't able to meet really was, bringing it closer to the street, but that's because it's very narrow, actual buildable area. There's a lot of easements, and so the buildable area was very finite, right in the middle of the parcel. So that was the only issue, but otherwise it met all the criteria.
So, Anna, are you saying you would have preferred that it was closer to the street, but because of the limitations, it can't be pulled up closer to the street? Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? There, it's working. Anybody else? White bunch tonight.
I'll make a motion we approve it.
All right. A motion by Jim. Who said that first? Tom said it first. Second by Tom. Any other, any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Now
Thank you
we
very
start
much.
moving. Thank you.
That doesn't go before council. That's
No.
We're done. Right. We're done.
We're done.
That one's
Get
done.
moving.
Regret.
Thank you. All right, let's get the minutes done and then we'll go to Anna's report. Anybody want to?
One correction in the minutes, duly noted by 3 people at minimum on page 4 under Z2231. Cindy Segner is Cindy Scroggins, unless that's her FBI name. But other than that, I move to approve the minutes. So,
All right, I have a motion by Tom, a second by Jim. I think. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
aye.
All opposed?
We're wanting to be here.
Yeah.
And I might remark, I asked the question that y'all might remember we had an item on the agenda that we started but did not finish. It's not back on here.
Right.
That will be on the agenda next month,
Next time.
starting all over. All right. Item 7A, Director's Update. Ann.
So just want to remind you about the joint session with City Council to go over the comp plan. And that's going to be on the 17th at noon here. And if you need a copy of the 2006 comp plan, if you don't have a physical one and you want one, let me know. We can have some extras printed up ahead of time so you can familiarize yourself with that document, since that's kind of the basis for going forward, along with the visioning document that was created a couple years ago. So that will be a joint meeting with City Council. We've blocked off 2 hours. Don't know if we'll take all of that. Oh, probably. Okay. 17.
Will lunch be provided or not? Shall we eat before we come?
We'll have refreshments.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. And then we are having an open house. The first public open house will be on the 18th over at the sanctuary at the old sanctuary at Pioneer Museum. That's 312 West San Antonio Street. And so just a reminder, this is the comp plan and parks master plan. So we'll have kind of the comp plan up in the front area and the parks back in the reception hall area. That's going to be from 4 to 7, and it is come and go. And if any of you want to be there and man a table or answer questions, you're more than welcome to join us.
They're just not working. All right. Thank you, Anna.
The survey, the consultant said we've had 129 responses to the survey, and if you've taken it, you know it's pretty lengthy and covers a lot of topics. So we will have some iPads available at the open house for people to sit down and take the time to think about those things. But yeah, we've had not too much interaction. That first time we just went to the Fun After 5 just to kind of say, hey, we're doing a comp plan. But they're still kind of in the listening session, so nothing to report out yet. Your meeting here, yes. You should have received a calendar invite from me. Yes, okay.
All right. We'll entertain a motion to adjourn then. Motion by Jim, second by Polly. Any discussion? All in favor, aye. All opposed? OMG, it's not even 6 o'clock. We are adjourned.
Madam Chairman, for making it easy.
We appreciate your guest.
Notice there's some characters in there. They haven't spoke already.
We just came to, just like you said, down in Missouri.
We appreciate that. And you came to, this is